going on, friends? There's some good news on the horizon with Harley-Davidson. Harley-Davidson is actually kind of looking to drop that premium brand attitude. Now, Harley-Davidson is looking at producing some new models, really trying to reach out to a broader audience, but at the same time, Harley-Davidson's still going to be Harley-Davidson, and I don't really see them stepping away from that "we're a premium brand" train of thought. But hopefully with the new models that Harley-Davidson is hinting about, they are actually going to try and reverse course and get it right and build the more entry-level model that maybe they should have never done away with. Harley-Davidson has really struggled to bring in new riders over the years, and honestly, in my opinion, every attempt that Harley-Davidson has made to reach out to younger riders and get them on the brand has just been an absolute disaster. For one reason or another, Harley-Davidson has never been able to really hit the mark with the younger riders and what they're into today. They just have been super out of touch with what everybody's riding. Harley-Davidson made a huge mistake with their entry-level motorcycles, and going forward, it kind of sounds like Harley-Davidson may actually aim to fix this mistake. Guys, please don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. The biggest mistake Harley-Davidson ever made was getting rid of the Evolution Sportster. That is one of Harley-Davidson's best-selling motorcycles of all time, was just the Sportster in general. Now, they can't say that for the newer water-cooled models, but when it came to the Sportster, it was always a very high-volume motorcycle for Harley-Davidson. But in Harley-Davidson's eyes, they weren't making enough profit on these bikes to really justify updating them and keeping them around, which was definitely their first mistake. It's very ironic because the Sportster being a very high volume selling motorcycle, that is exactly what Harley-Davidson needs right now, is something with high volume sales and lots of cash flow. Now, Harley-Davidson has definitely learned the hard way with the new liquid-cooled Sportsters that people aren't just going to run out and buy it because of what it says on the tank. If it says Harley-Davidson and Sportster, doesn't mean it's a Sportster, and people don't necessarily want it. Harley-Davidson is a unique riding experience. It's a unique owning experience. Now, insert your jokes below, but nothing else out there looks, rides, or feels like a Harley-Davidson. Many have tried to copy it, but they never could just nail it down because they're not a Harley. People buy Harley-Davidsons because they are like nothing else out there. Can you imagine what would happen if all of a sudden for 2026, Harley-Davidson announced everything was going to be overhead cam and liquid cooling, including all of your touring bikes? Everything was going to be something like the Indian Challenger. That's not exactly going to be a hot seller in my opinion. Harley-Davidson has really seemed to forget that people grow into Harleys. People ride everything else and then eventually say, hey, I'm going to buy a Harley. Now, if you guys recall, several years ago, Harley-Davidson had a patent out there for a smaller displacement air and oil-cooled V-twin with a 4-valve head. Now, a lot of us believed that was going to be the update for the Sportster, which never happened, and they took a completely different direction. The good news is that Harley is somewhat kind of signaling that this may actually become a reality, maybe even be sold alongside their liquid-cooled offerings in the entry-level line. Give something back to the people that still want something that's more of an old-school Harley-Davidson. I would take a baby Milwaukee 8 in a Sportster any day before I would the new Sportsters with the liquid cooling. I'm happy that Harley-Davidson's trying to draw in new riders, but it's also nice to see that Harley-Davidson is appearing to actually look like they're going to try to make an effort to get back into something in the entry-level line that guys like all of us that ride Harley-Davidsons actually might be somewhat interested in, or anybody that's looking to purchase a Harley as an entry-level motorcycle, they would have something that's more like the bigger Harleys instead of something completely different that's like everything else. I will say that Harley-Davidson probably did need something to compete with Indian in the entry-level market. There was a comparison between the Scout and an Evo Sportster at one time. And I know they're comparing apples to oranges in there though, but theoretically, they are in the same class, and it went about as you would expect. The bad news is in reality, where I see Harley-Davidson going is they're wanting to break into the smaller displacement market, and Harley-Davidson's really been eyeing that Triumph 400 and the success that it has had, the Speed 400. Great bike. Sold a lot of them. And Harley-Davidson wants a piece of that market. And now we all know what happens when Harley-Davidson steps out of their wheelhouse and tries to do something a lot different than what they normally do, and it's usually way out of touch, and it really ends in one big disaster. The other thing that Harley-Davidson is trying to do is they're trying to break into this entry-level market and build motorcycles that are going to be wildly popular, not only with the people they're trying to sell them to, but wildly profitable for the company as well. And knowing Harley-Davidson, you know what that's already going to lead to. That's going to lead to pump these out, build as many of them as quickly and as cheaply as we can, and then you're bringing in new riders to the brand and putting them on absolute pieces of crap, and then they're going to have all kinds of issues with them throughout their ownership, and they're never going to look at a Harley-Davidson again. I would actually love to see Harley-Davidson act on those patents they put out years ago, and they've kind of hinted that that may happen, but I would love to see an entry-level Sportster come back in the shadow of the old Evolution Sportster, but with an updated 4-valve head, air and oil cooling, maybe even twin cooling if they went that far, and sell it for around the price point that they're selling the Sportster, the Nightster right now, the Sportster S. It's got to fall somewhere in between there. I think that would be an excellent direction for the company, and I think that would be a great entry point to get a lot of people on a Harley-Davidson, because they want a Harley-Davidson. They want the look, the feel, and the sound. They don't want something that's liquid cooled and just says Harley-Davidson on the gas tank. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you think Harley-Davidson breaking into the smaller displacement market is actually going to be profitable and work for the company to get new riders? Or do you think they should take the direction of actually acting on that new updated Sportster with an air and oil cooled engine? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. But anyhow guys, that's all I've got for you this week. If you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But until next week guys, you stay safe on the streets, ride smart, dodge those cars. I'll catch you guys back here next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.